What's going on, everybody? What is today? Monday. I hope you are all doing fantastic. So, today we are going to talk about a subject that I know you've all been looking forward to. The Industrial Revolution is arriving to the United States. Woo woo. Um, we're also going to talk later on about what's called the British invasion, where something else from England comes to the United States, led by these four lovely chaps on my wall, the Beatles. But we'll talk about that when we talk about our Cold War unit. Right now, we're talking about the Industrial Revolution. All right. So, you know, through the course of trade and ships traveling back and forth, the Industrial Revolution, these machines like the spinning jenny, they were brought to the US in the early 1800s. And factories began to appear just like they did in England near rivers, and cities began to develop, but they weren't the norm yet. Factories were not the majority, right? And factories were mostly located in the Northeast, places like New York, Massachusetts, places like that. And the southern US, where we live, was still mostly agricultural, right? Farming, and dependent on slave labor. Slave labor really drove the southern economy, which, if you know anything about the Civil War, you know that the Union had all the factories and could make more guns and bullets and use trains and make more equipment, and the South really was behind in that sense. And that is because of these factories that are popping up in the North, in the Northeast rather, but not here in the South. And keep in mind, we're talking about before the Civil War at this point, so prior to 1861. So there's a couple things that are going on in the U.S. to make the Industrial Revolution really take hold here. First of all, we have railroads and steamboats. Now, you'll learn a little bit more about the steamboat on your assignment for today, but like the railroad, they were both modern, efficient methods of transportation. And we will talk later about how the railroads expanded the steel industry here in the states, and with that led a whole lot of other things, and a guy named Andrew Carnegie, who we will discuss in much greater detail here in a little bit. And then steamboats revolutionized trade, because something you'll see in the Edpuzzle that I want you to watch today is that steamboats have the ability to travel upriver, which you can't do really just with a paddle. So steamboats can travel upriver, which means that places in the South, like at the bottom of a river, downriver, could then trade with places upriver, right? And you're going to see that in the video that I've linked for you. Make sure that you answer all the questions and that you let the video finish. If you answer all the questions without letting the video finish all the way, you don't get credit. Okay? Okay. All right. And then what else is going on in the U.S., right? So these railroads and steamboats, they're good, but what else kind of helps it take hold here? Factories, jobs. Factories mean jobs, plain and simple. And we've already talked about that, right? People are going to look for work, and if factories are saying, hey, we need people to work, people are going to go work. They're going to deal with the terrible conditions because they have to. They have to deal with them to survive. And these factories made the Northeast a very desirable place to live, because there was, you could almost always find work. And not only did they make it a desirable place to live for people in the United States, we start to see a lot of immigrants coming over from all different places. And we're going to see that a lot after the Civil War as well. Immigrants coming from Ireland, England, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, China, Russia, the Eastern Europe. I mean, they come from all over. So we're going to see what effects that has on society as a whole and the Industrial Revolution, these immigrants that come over. But for terms of right now, these factories meant guaranteed jobs in the Northeast, thus making a lot of people want to move to the Northeast and a lot of people wanting to not live in the South, right? Especially a lot of newly freed slaves that we'll talk about. They didn't want to live in the South anymore, so they moved north. But before the Civil War, like we're talking about right now, even people in the South that, poor white farmers, they really could not afford to farm because the people that had slave labor, they had labor that was free. The white farmers, they had to charge for their labor, so their products that they would sell would have to be more expensive. The slaveholder selling products, he doesn't care about paying his workers, so he can sell his stuff at a little bit of a lower price and then make more money. So these poor white farmers actually got forced out of business, and then they wanted to move up to the Northeast to work in these factories where they could actually, make more money, believe it or not, than they were making on their farm. Okay, and yep, that is it for today. So that is it for today. Had to check my notes. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you're all having a great Monday. Make sure you watch the Ed puzzle and let it finish completely. Some of you don't do that. So let it finish completely so you'll get credit, and I'll get that graded soon. And I hope to see you all on Zoom tomorrow. I do enjoy our class Zoom sessions. They're always super fun. So if you can get on, I would love for you to get on and join in our conversations. But if not, you guys know, as always, there will be a recording posted on Canvas at some point tomorrow afternoon. So without further ado, I say good day to you all. And if you have any questions, you guys know my email is open. I would say my door is open, but we're not at school, so my email is open. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.